Hello everyone. Here we are, episode number 35. But yeah, it did take some time. I think we last had a chat during the Asia Cup, or probably right before the Asia Cup, and a lot has happened in the last couple of months or so. Mainly with Asia Cup, and then subsequently travel to Australia for the World T20 and whatnot. So we'll discuss more about Team India, the past, the present, and the future. Largely, it will be around that with a glimpse of what necessarily happened at World T20, the trophy that matters the most in 2022, and probably mattered the most, uh, for lack of words, or so to say. And then, of course, we'll also look at what's in store for the coming 6 to 8 months, given the World Cup in 2023 as well. So, welcome, Pavan Bhaiya. What do you think of the World T20? And then, of course, what do you think of Team England and what necessarily they did very different to other teams?
Hi, Ravi, and welcome to our viewers as well. Nice to be back on our podcast after a while. And yes, it was a very eventful World Cup, to say the least, and one of the best World Cups that I enjoyed as a fan, primarily because of the balance that we got to see between the bat and the ball in Australia. It was not the regular run of the mill stuff where we saw scores of more than 180 being scored in every other match. And I think the conditions being very early part of the Australian summer also played their part, and that ensured that there was good amount of balance between both the facets of the game, and that sort of made sure that we had some interesting cricket to watch. Not to say the least, the amount of weather interventions also that we got as part of the interlude between ending of the winter and leading on to the summer in Australia. Not the usual time when a lot of international cricket happens in October and early November. But having said that, yes, a lot of color was brought to the tournament by various associate teams as well, and we got to see multiple upsets in the qualifying stage, followed by the Super 12 stage as well. So that kept the juices flowing and the unpredictability intact. And I think England were the deserving winners of this World Cup, knowing pretty much that they were one of the favorites coming into the tournament. And I think this generation of white ball cricketers that England has will go down as one of the best in the history of world cricket, certainly in their own history. And I think that the steps that they took after the debacle of the 2015 World Cup have reached complete fruition in the form of holding the One Day World Cup and the T20 World Cup at the same time, and they're the first nation to do so successfully. And it's just their mindset and the quality of players that they have had at their disposal, identifying the players that would do the job for them in various situations, and giving them the license to go out and express themselves by providing them adequate amount of security within the team. Um, Although Josh Butler was at the helm of affairs and was lifting that trophy for England, I very much still feel that this is Ian Morgan's team, and he pulled the plug at the right time in his career when he realized that he would not warrant a place in the side as a player, uh, and did not want to block a youngster's place. This is basically his team, and of course, Josh Butler will further develop this into a more potent unit going forward. But I think having players responding to various kind of situations, um, considering they lost Johnny Bairstow before the World Cup, and then during the World Cup, two of their main players, one in batting, David Malan, and Mark Wood in bowling, not being able to play, shows the kind of depth that they have enjoyed and the kind of continuity that they have had in their selection and the kind of backing they have given to even youngsters and stuck around with them and given that security speaks volumes of that England side. And Sam Curran is a classic case, who started his career in such a great fashion against India in red ball cricket. Um, Turned out to be the man of the tournament. At the end of the day, don't know how many people would have bet on him to secure that before the tournament started. Um, Answered their call as far as death bowling was concerned. In the absence of Mark Wood and Jofra Archer, Chris Jordan also stepped up. And all in all, we knew that they are going to be a very dangerous side. And just as the title was on the line and they were facing elimination, not due to their own doing, but because of circumstances. They lost that match against Ireland when the heavens opened up, and they required 50 odd in the last 5 overs, which would have been very, very um, easy to achieve for that lineup had that game gone full distance. And their game against Australia also got washed out, so that left them to win everything that they had to win the tournament, and they peaked at the right time from there. And so I think they'll be the team to beat going forward in any white ball game, whether it's one day or T20. And I think they are setting the bar high and are the gold standard at this point of time as we speak uh, in white ball cricket. And apart from them, other teams also brought a lot of color to the tournament. Pakistan qualified for the knockouts, depending on other results, but they did what was in their control, and that was winning games, tough games against South Africa, and then played their best game in the semis against New Zealand, and they're a force to reckon with us going forward. A lot of other teams did disappoint as well. Australia not qualifying in their home World Cup. The knockout stage was a surprise. Like so, West Indies not qualifying at all for the Super 12 stage. Um, New Zealand again, getting to the knockout stages, and that's been a problem to cross the hurdle and win the trophy for them. Of course, we'll talk about India in a bit. But all in all, I think a very good tournament to watch as a fan, the quality of cricket and deserving winners uh, as far as England are concerned. Your thoughts, Ravi?
Well, very well put upon by us. So, a lot to talk about England. There's a lot of talk around intent, largely that happens in the South Asian countries. It first started probably by our neighbors when they've seen Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam, just managing 110s and 120 strikers, but still kind of creeping up or probably putting those, 70, 80 run partnerships. And when the teams start to feel that, okay, probably it's not enough, especially when the bowlers think that probably they do not have enough on the board, these questions tend to arise. But uh, we've seen England doing baseball in Test cricket to start with, and it worked out. It didn't work out. It didn't really work out with against New Zealand, but the Test match against India, they did really well, chased down a huge total. And similar intent or probably the idea is kind of implemented in T20 as well. Um, so early 2019 or probably mid 2019, when we were sending our team to England for the World Cup, there was a talk about Vijay Shankar being the three-dimensional player, right? The one who can bat, the one who can bowl, and also the one who can also field well in a way, and trust me, England had probably 10 to 11 three-dimensional players, maybe. Adil Rashid, who probably comes at in number 11, we can also actually strike the ball pretty hard. And there is not, let's not forget, like you rightly pointed out, there's no Johnny Bairstow. They lost David Malan, their best batsman, in between, and also Mark Wood due to injuries, but still comfortable victories. Let's not even call the semi-final a comfortable victory. It was a it was a thrashing for the other team, and then in the final as well, while they chased it down with a single digit number of balls available, I think they were pretty much in control of the chase all throughout. And let's not forget that they bowled brilliantly well. So if you have Chris Jordan batting at number 10, we pretty much know the depth of that uh, uh, batting unit. And um, credit where it's due. And they are deserving champs. Not saying that Pakistan were not deserving or in any way, because they are there. for whatever that was in their control. No one expected the Netherlands South Africa choke, or we can talk in lengths about how they played at Sydney, and but they did what they could, isn't it? And then Comet the R in the at the most important stage of Sydney, they defeated the best team in Group A, which was New Zealand, and then went through. So of course, they have a lot of questions that need to be asked or probably answered. But talking about England and the prowess, as you rightly told, I think it's um, coming 23 World Cup in India. We're gonna see 400 totals, and probably England will be the one doing it maybe twice or thrice. We never know. So yeah, looking forward to that. Coming to the next segment, perhaps largely what we are very particular about or want to understand is about India and the way forward. And we talk about this on the day India pretty much play New Zealand in a T20 again at Wellington in a couple of hours time. Uh, so what necessarily changed in the last 1 week is the seniors are not playing in this. So the captain is back home, and then, of course, we have a new captain, Hardik Pandya. Uh, Considering the World T20 is done, uh, uh, we are talking about a new two captain policy that's pretty much would be in place for the next coming uh, a couple of years for sure. And let's not forget, 12 months ago, this was the same policy that was not kind of advocated when we were talking about red ball cricket and then, of course, white ball. So, so until 2023, we'll definitely not see a change in captain in terms of who at least the of the ODI format. But in white ball itself, we're gonna pretty much have uh, two captains. Uh, Honestly, was it a unsuccessful World Cup? Of course, until group stage, we had our close wins. We had our uh, the defeat was pretty convincing, and we can talk in lengths about how the semi-final we choked and uh, everything. I'm not someone who kind of advocates at least until 2019 when we finished top of the group, and then the huge luck factor which played a role in New Zealand in the semi-final at Manchester. I'm not someone who wants to be really harsh about it, but sometimes it gets onto your head. It sometimes gets onto your heart as well, because another semi, the dearth of winning over ICC trophy is still there. Another semi or another final, we'll still quickly think about what needs to be done. Um, at this point in time, there's no when we talk about way forward, and there are a lot of thoughts that kind of come into our head, but naturally, what I have to question is how BCCI is handling things. Right from now, we'll have a multi-captain policy, and then uh, uh, something that we genuinely had a problem uh, with the World Test Championship this season. We still do not look really, uh, good enough in a place to get to the final, and then with a change in captain in between and whatnot. Nonetheless, a question that needs to be genuinely talked about is what about the whole elevations given to Rahul Dravid, the coach? Of course, we understand the fact that there is very little that probably a coach can do. It's all about maneuvering things and managing the team, and then accordingly that the players should step up and whatnot. But at the same time, we are looking at multiple breaks from the coach as well. That's I'm not sure if it's a good sign. We can always talk about how the coach probably has a break, and then there's a team manager stepping up, managing the team and whatnot. But now we have another stalwart in the form of VVS Lakshman trying to deal things. And how the players actually look up to this, or how the interactions and everything, it matters. It's like having too many stalwarts trying to deal things with all the already available mighty figures in the playing 11. And added to this, we are also having talks about MS Dhoni coming as a mentor again for the team. And we're talking about stalwarts everywhere. And sometimes I get a feeling that too many cooks actually spoil the broth. But at the same time, it's just that when the results do not necessarily go in your favor, you tend to question a lot of things. And probably if it goes in our favor, we'll kind of give the same elevations or same credit that Dhoni always used to get rightfully, and probably Rahul Dravid always got rightfully, in my opinion, as a player. given he's my favorite player of all time. But with the way things are being handled, there are a lot of questions about IPL. There are a lot of questions about, because we never won a World T20 after the IPL is actually launched, and we kind of claim ourselves. It is the best league. There's no doubt about it. The quality of players define it, not the opinions across the border. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, silverware is everything, right? When we're commanding about say 70% of um, uh, uh, you know power or revenue, and you take pride about it, there's no point taking pride, but it's ultimately about silverware and what we are necessarily doing. So nonetheless, the World T20, I won't say it's a disaster for sure, but the final semi-final was definitely the disaster. The captain looked clueless. Their claims about how knockouts are probably just another game. All these kind of add to the woes of Indian cricket fans from a long time, because these are things that pretty much define what a player and his capability is. Not orange caps, not IPL trophies, not showing five fingers in a every May or June. That doesn't definitely matter, because ultimately we are clear about what's actually circus and what is actually divine or holy for cricket fans. And then nonetheless, with all my uh, I'll say not a rant, but more like out of all concerns, I'm really hoping that uh, there is silverware sitting in October 2023 in the form of ICC World Cup. And then let's hope that we're not tinkering too much. There's not too much you know uh, man management, or so to say, by all the stalwarts, and but we're just sticking to the process and taking the glory home. And the number of ODI games we play from here also matters a lot. So that's pretty much my thoughts and what I really wanted to kind of talk about. And yes, Pawan, your views on Team India, the way forward, the present and the way forward, and how do you look considering 2024 USA and West Indies host the World T20? Hopefully, we should all be going, but yeah, let's see. So, what do you think about the whole process right from now, and what has went wrong?
Yeah, thanks for putting that across, Ravi, and nice views over there with respect to the current state of affairs and what we can look forward to as far as Team India is concerned. To be honest, it was a potential recipe for disaster when we came into this World Cup. And as a fan, I was hoping against hope that we go all the way and win the championship. And I have a uh, very concise list of points why we faltered at this World Cup, and we will continue to do so in world events if we do not rectify these. As this has been in fashion for the last 9 odd years, especially after 2017. Um, After we bowed out of the World Cup last year in Dubai, there was a change in captaincy, and both Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid tried to sell us a dream, saying that we are now going to play with gay abandon and freedom, and you know, give the license to the players to go out and express themselves no matter what the situation. Well, you failed to walk the talk when it mattered the most in the World Cup. We saw that intent definitely during the bilateral T20 series that we won quite convincingly between both the World Cups. But when it mattered the most to show that kind of attitude in the World Cup, it was found wanting. That's number one. Number two, I think the problem with Indian cricket as of now, especially in white ball cricket, is having too much of talent to choose from and not knowing the correct personnel who are going to play for you and what kind of roles that you see them in. And part of this stems from the fact that, again, between both the World Cups, all the senior players were picking and choosing their series. So the captain never played with the team that was eventually going to play at the World Cup. And no matter how good a player you are or how much of a stalwart you are, if you're not going to play with the kind of 11 that's going to be playing in the World Cup 6 months before the World Cup, you're going to be ending up in soup. We're going to just think that when the World Cup comes around, all of us are going to play together, gel as a unit, and it'll be all hunky dory. That's not going to happen, especially at the international stage. So all this nonsense in the name of workload management needs to be done away, and the superstar culture needs to go out of the window. I know it's there in our DNA. It's easier said than done, but that needs to go away if we want to progress as a cricketing nation going forward. and you can only ignore the younger talent at your own peril. Um, and these were the things leading up into the World Cup, which made me feel that we it's going to be taking a miracle for us to win the World Cup, to say the least. And then when the World Cup started, if you see the journey of the team during the World Cup, come the crunch games against Pakistan, South Africa, and England. With due respect to the other cricketing nations, we were supposed to win those other matches. Against Pakistan, we got out of jail when Virat Kohli played one of, or if not his best innings, and that comes around once in a lifetime. And it was sheerly because of individual brilliance that we got out of jail and won that game. And if you see the other two tough games, we uh, capitulated against South Africa pretty badly, and then the semi-final was there for everyone to see, where we received a royal thrashing at the hands of England. So we have time and again faltered in these crucial games, and it was a very timid approach from the openers. Like I mentioned, they never walked the talk, and our average power play score was around 35 or 36, one of the worst amongst all the participating countries. And time and again, the onus fell on Virat Kohli and Suryakumar Yadav. Virat Kohli was back to his best because he followed his own template of early on giving himself time and then slowly going into the innings and playing the sheet anchor. And if there is a player that India would want to replicate and have many more such players in their T20 lineup, it will be Suryakumar Yadav. I think going forward, and he is the only player who plays uh, like someone would play in that England team. Um, they were unsure of their finisher. Again, that debate between Karthik and Pant. Karthik played for the entire group stage, and then suddenly you bring Pant into the picture, doing injustice to both of them, and not backing one player right throughout the journey. KL Rahul has been a big fail in main matches and needs to be done away with as far as I'm concerned in the T20 format. Uh, and similarly, we were not sure about spinners. Um, we were just playing those two spinners, finger spinners in Akshar and Ashwin, in the hope of getting some extra runs because we did not have Jadeja in the middle order. I mean, you go and ask a common cricket fan out there on the field whether you prefer a spinner who is defensive in nature and can offer you 15 runs with the bat versus a spinner who's going to get you 3 wickets and concede 40 runs in 4 overs, and which bowler you would prefer. Um, it was abysmal to see Chahal not get a game while the entire world depends on his spinners. Afghanistan have got Rashid Khan. England have got Adil Rashid. South Africa have got Tabrez Samsi in there. Pakistan have got Shadab Khan in there. Australia have got Zampa. New Zealand have got Ish Sodi. So what makes you not play a wrist spinner is beyond me actually, and um, it's only for those extra runs. And we even heard the bowling coach Paras Mahamre say categorically that you wouldn't see Chahal playing ahead of Ashwin because of the way Ashwin contributes with that. Put the onus on the first six guys to score the runs, and bowlers should pick up wickets.
100%.
Um, and um, two finger spinners, one finger spinner, you never bowl him in the tournament, and come the semi final, you're giving the responsibility of bowling a couple of crucial overs in the power play. You could see that he was nervous. I don't want to blame him. He was pitching the ball short and got smacked around. Um, Ashwin, I think his days with the white ball are over. Um, so they goofed up with the spinning department as well, and then come the pace department. That was one silver lining because of the helpful conditions. I think Bhuneshwar stepped up really well, but again, it was disappointing to see him fade away during the crunch time in the semi-finals. And I think the find of the tournament, along with Sky, was uh, Arshdeep Singh. Again, baffling to see him not being bowled at all in the power play after that 1 over in the semi-final when he's your best bowler on view. So, and not having out and out tear away in the pace department also proved to be a hindrance. I think that's going to be one uh, concern that needs to be addressed. And all in all, apart from all these things, the fear of failure can largely be seen on the faces of the Indian players in the crucial knockout matches. And no matter what, how hard you try, you're going to be ending up with such results pretty consistently. And the only way forward, I say, is now appoint somebody like a Hardik Pandya as a full-time captain for T20 until 2024, and have all the youngsters in the side, give them security, tell them that they're going to play the next 15, 20 matches, go out there and express yourselves. And most importantly, we need to push in multi-skilled players, the likes of Deepak Gupta, Washington Sundar, all these guys who offer something with both bat and ball. Push in the likes of Umran Malik, Kuldeep Sen, Mohammad Siraj, and all these guys, and back them. I think the days for all the senior players in the T20 setup are over. It's the era of the T20 specialists, and if we don't get our act together, we're going to be ending up in similar manner in 2024 as well, 2 years down the line. Don't matter for the reputation of the players, just back the youngsters, give them the chances for the best league in the world. And I'm very sure that when these guys go out and play with their hearts on their sleeve and with sense of security and gay abandon, you'll see different results coming out. And I think if this is not the Eureka moment like England had in 2015 after that Adelaide defeat against Bangladesh, I don't know what will wake up BCCI. So hoping against hope, uh, really does BCCI, walk the talk in these matters. But I hope they do that this time and we get to see these results. And I 100% finally agree. The, the coaches get break for 2.5 months on a yearly basis during the IPL and they cannot do anything else because of conflict of interest. But here, taking breaks in between tours does not actually make sense. And you got to be with the team to build up the team for any kind of competition. You get a break for IPL, so enjoy a break. Best 10 months of the year, no matter what, how stressful it is, you got to be on the job. So hope someone is listening out there. And it's really the fans, the stakeholders, the main stakeholders of the game who lose heart. We don't mind our team losing. It's just the way that they've been losing that hurts us. Winning and losing is part and parcel of the game. We understand that, but you wouldn't grudge a team who loses after a close fight in a game. I think that's what we need to develop and back our youngsters. We have enough talent. How to just make use of that talent and back them correctly is what we need to just refine, and the results will be there to see for all of us.
Indeed, Pawan, well, very well put. Of course, the spin department saw an upgrade compared to Varun Chakravarti last year. So, nonetheless, a lot of questions to ask, a lot of answers to be heard. And one of the first answer is probably tonight in New Zealand. One of the many answers that are going to come from the next 8 to 9 months and until 2024. Um, Nonetheless, let's see if there are actually shackles in the minds of players, in the minds of fans, and if we'll actually see the break free intent and all that's talked about but never kind of implemented. And yeah, the day is here. It starts tonight, and really hoping for a very good series down under again against New Zealand. Thanks for your views. Thanks for your thoughts, as always. And yes, let's catch up soon. And we have a lot of cricketing action in the coming 8 to 9 months to discuss. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure, Ravi. Thank you.